Hello guys, I'm Prasanna and currently I'm pursuing BTech second year in Artificial Intelligence and Machine Learning in Vishnu Institute of Technology, Bhimavaram. In the previous videos, we discussed HTML and CSS. We know that HTML defines structure of website or web page and CSS is used for its styling. Now we are going to discuss JavaScript, which defines the functionality of a web page, website, or a web application. Now we are going to discuss basic concepts in JavaScript. First of all, what is JavaScript? JavaScript is a programming language. JavaScript is the dominant client-side scripting language of the web, with 99% of all websites using it for this purpose. Scripts are embedded in or included from HTML documents and interact with the DOM. All major web browsers have a built-in JavaScript engine that executes the code on the user's device. Today we are going to discuss JavaScript concepts such as objects, functions, variables, and some of the JavaScript modules. What is an object? In JavaScript, an object is a collection of related data and functionality. These are stored as key value pairs, where keys are strings and values can be of any data type, including other objects or functions. Objects allow you to group related properties and methods together, making it easier to organize and work with your data. And here is an example for defining an object. So you can create an object using literals, and we can also create using new keyword. So here is a it is a variable, and person is the object name, and here the data is stored as key value pairs as shown here. Uh, and key What are the key features of JavaScript objects? It has key value pairs, and it has a dynamic nature, and it consists of methods. Methods are nothing but functions inside objects are called methods, and nested objects. So about key value pairs, keys are also called properties. Values can be of any data type. As we first discussed, uh, we can uh, we can have any type of data in this key value pairs, and it has dynamic nature. That is, you can add, update, or delete properties at any point of time. And about nested objects, objects can contain other objects as values. As here um, in the address key, we have the city and zip this object as another nested object. And accessing object properties, you can access properties and methods using a dot notation and as well as bracket notation. Why we use objects? It provides encapsulation, flexibility, and co-reusability. um, Encapsulation is nothing but groups related data and methods together. And JavaScript objects are dynamic, allowing you to modify them as needed. Objects can be reused, especially when combined with constructor or classes. So here are the examples of objects in JavaScript. There are two types of objects in JavaScript, uh, which is built-in objects and custom objects. Built-in objects such as math, date, array, object, string, etc. And custom objects Custom objects is nothing but we can create objects to model real world entities like users, products, or tasks, etc. What are functions in JavaScript? A function in JavaScript is a reusable block of code designed to perform a specific task. Functions can take inputs, process them, and return an output. They are fundamental to organizing code, reduce redundancy, and improving maintainability. Why are functions important in JavaScript? It provides code reusability, modularity, code readability, and code maintainability. Functions let you write a block of code once and use it multiple times, break complex problems into smaller manageable pieces, and name functions make the purpose of the code clear. Uh, they help in changing the code only need to be made in one place. Here are the ways to declare functions in JavaScript. Functions can be declared with function keyword. Uh, it can be called before the definition due to hoisting. A function is assigned to a variable, not hoisted, so it must be defined before being called. And arrow functions, a shorter syntax for function expressions, does not have its own this context. And anonymous functions, functions without a name, often used as arguments or in event handlers. Immediately invoked function expressions, executes immediately after being defined. Constructor functions, functions used to create objects invoked with new keyword. Default parameters, functions can have default values as parameters. If we doesn't give any value in the functions, it can have default values as parameters. So here are the examples for function declaration. And functions are vital part of JavaScript programming because they allow you to reuse code efficiently, improve clarity and structure, modularize your modularize your code into smaller testable units. And how this concept works in different concepts: global context or non-strict mode. Uh, have you heard about global scope? In the global execution context, this refers to the global object, such as window in browsers, global in Node.js. Inside a function, such as in non-strict mode, this refers to the global object. In strict mode, this is undefined. Inside a method, when a function is property of an object, this refers to the object of the method belongs to. In arrow functions do not have their own this. Instead, they inherit this from the surrounding lexical scope. In event handlers, in event listeners, this refers to the element that received the event. So here is an example for this. And key points are: this is dynamic and depends on how a function is called. In arrow functions, this is determined by the surrounding lexical scope. Explicitly control this using bind, call, or apply for more predictable behavior. In JavaScript, where, let, and const are used to declare variables, but they have significant differences in terms of scope, hoisting, and reassignment. Where, um, let's talk about where. Its scope is function scoped. A variable declared with var is scoped to the nearest function, not to the nearest block. And hoisting variables about hoisting variables declared with var are hoisted to the top of their scope but remain uninitialized. Reassignment var allows you to redeclaration and reassignment. Let its scope is block based. A variable declared with let is only accessible within the block it is defined. Let is hoisted, but it is not initialized. Accessing it before the declaration results in a reference error. Reassignment. Let allows reassignment, but does not allow redeclaration in the same scope. About constant, it is also block scoped. Like let variables declared with const keyword are limited to the block in which they are defined. And about hoisting, const is hoisted but it is not initialized. Accessing it before the declaration results in a reference error. Reassignment. Const does not allow reassignment or redeclaration. Scoping rules in JavaScript. Scoping determines where variables, functions, and objects are accessible in your code. JavaScript supports two main types of scope, that is, global scope and local scope. In global scope, variables declared outside of any function or block are in the global scope. They are accessible anywhere in the code. And about local scope, variables declared inside a function or block or in the local scope, accessible only within the function or block. Block scope. Variables declared with let or const are block scoped, meaning they are confined to the nearest enclosing of the parenthesis. Function scope. Variables declared with var are function scope, meaning they are confined to the nearest enclosing function even if declared inside a block.